Hi everybody, welcome to this second video in the series of videos covering off integrations between the Converter platform and Marketo. My name is Simon Woods, I'm a sales engineer here at Converter, and in this tutorial what we're going to cover off is how you integrate between a Marketo list and a campaign in Converter. Um, just a quick recap and reminder. The first video we did in this series was on the pre-configurations required within Marketo itself, and that involved creating a new user role, a new user, client ID, and client secret from the web service. Once we've done that, we put those credentials into Credential Manager in our instance of Converter, so we can continually use those credentials going forward. So I would recommend, if you have the time, have a look at video 1 because it's the natural starting point for the journey here. But back to the focus on this video. Today we're going to focus on pushing a lead through the platform to a Marketo static list, and we're going to show you how to set that up. So in front of you, what you should see is a campaign that we've set up. It's a very simple campaign. We've got a standard sort of converter form with only 4 fields in it and what have you, but there's nothing configured at the moment. So what we're going to do is first of all click on processor and then integrate. So we have a number of tabs here, but the one that we're interested in is integration. So if we click on this, and you can see here we have no jobs configured for integration at the moment. So what we're going to do is click add job. To enable us to find the right option, if you just click down and start typing Marketo, you'll see we get 2 options here. There's an integrate with Marketo or integrate with Marketo program. Because we're aiming for a Marketo list, this time we're going to choose integrate with Marketo, which is the option that gives us that functionality. So click on integrate with Marketo and click save. Okay, so what you should see in front of you now is all the different configuration options we have under this processor job. As we're doing a very simplistic integration today, there are a couple of things that are not required. So what I want you to do is get rid of those out of the way. So if it says custom objects, just click on the X next to that, and custom activities, click on that. Hoping to do the fourth in the series of videos will be covering off custom objects and custom activities. So if it's something of interest, we've got another video coming along in respect of those 2 particular items. So first and foremost, we go to the API section at the top, and you can see it at the moment it says credential source. This is where, if it's set manual, then what you would need to do is you need to input the credential ID and client secret and the identity URL, which we retrieved from the Marketo instance in the first video. But because we've saved the credentials in Credential Manager, if I clear manual, you can see I get the option for Credential Manager. If I click off that, you can then see it says manage your credentials. If I click on the down arrow, you can see here we have the name of the set of credentials we did in the first video, which is 17 new converter API Marketo to list credential. So if we click on this, okay, the next thing we want to look at is we want to pick the static lists that are currently available for us to send leads to in Marketo. So if I click on list ID, you can see it's given us a number of lists that are available for us to send lists to. In this instance, we're going to choose the option 1006, which is the ID of a list that we have in Marketo. So I click on that. So we've tied things in with the credentials and we've got the list that we're aiming for. The next section we need to look at is mapping. Okay, so within Converter, we have a form with fields in, and we need to make sure that we've mapped those fields to the ones in Marketo to deliver. So first things to notice is that the modal actually sort of gives us some suggested options and what have you. But what I want to do is I want to see the map the fields that we have in the converter form, and also the fields that we would need just to check and make sure the mapping is correct. In the first video, I recommended that a good positive step when going through this process is to download the fields from Marketo as well, and you'll catch all the REST API field names to assist with this. If you've got a more extensive set of data or fields that you want to put into Marketo from Converter. So to check, so what we're going to do is just click save on this for now. We'll come back to it in a second. And to check for the fields required in Converter, if we just go to Creatives and then click Forms, this is one way you can do this. And then if we click Edit, you can see here we've got the forms, and what we've got here is first name, last name, email, and telephone. So very, very simple. So what we need to do also is check that those correlate to the field names in Marketo as well. So let's just see what the REST API names are for those. This is the spreadsheet that we downloaded from the Marketo instance in video 1. And you can see here the emails all lowercase, first name, title case on the second one, last name, title case, and for phone, it has phone. So if we go back into our campaign in Converter, go back to the processor tab, go back to integration, and go back to configuration. And you can see here that on the left hand side, what we will have are our Marketo fields. On the right hand side, we have the converter fields. So I'm only interested in the first 4 here, so I'm going to get rid of the rest. So, okay. So we now configured the modal and all the options here. What remains really is for us just to test and make sure that we can push the leads through from this campaign. So what I'm going to do is open up the landing page that we have configured in the campaign with the associated form, and I'm just going to type in name, email address, and phone number and submit that form. Choose the opt-in, and then I'm just going to submit. So this is one way of submitting forms to the Converter platform. You can also import bought lists and spreadsheets and CSV files, or you can integrate more directly to your website via webhooks as well, and publisher APIs. But all we're doing is just testing to make sure this lead actually does arrive in Marketo. So if we look at the campaign now and go to the leads page, you can see here we have a lead that we've just put in, and it's valid, and we can look here and it says it's integrated with Marketo. And if we actually go into Marketo itself and refresh the page on this particular list, which was Simon's list, you should now see that that lead has been delivered. Um, just a very quick tip: if you ever want to know what the lead ID, what the list ID is in Marketo, just look at the URL at the top, and it's usually the piece between ST and um, B2 or A1, whatever. It's usually this number here, essentially. Just a tip there for you going forward. Okay, so hopefully this has helped show you how we integrate Converter with a Marketo list. Um, keep your eyes out for the next video where we're going to talk about integrating with a Marketo program. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I hope you found it interesting and informative.